The Dallas Cowboys didn't have the greatest running game in 2024, which could be a prime opportunity for a new running back to rebuild his career. Former Denver Broncos running back Javonte Williams signed with the Cowboys this offseason with hopes to jumpstart his career. Williams had 903 yards rushing as a rookie in 2021, but he hasn't met that mark since, and the Cowboys have a need a running back after Rico Dowdle left for the Carolina Panthers. ESPN's Bill Barnwell sees the match between Williams and the Cowboys as far from perfect despite the mutual need. In addition, it could go much poorer than Cowboys fans would anticipate, as Barnwell projects. Only $1 million of Williams' $3 million is guaranteed, so there's a slim but plausible chance he doesn't even make the active roster in Week 1, Barnwell wrote. I would say it's likely Williams gets there, but that we see him strictly in a rotational role. He's not likely to reach Dowdle's heights in workload or production. Last season, Dowdle rushed for 1,079 yards and 2 touchdowns on 235 carries. Williams had 513 yards and 4 touchdowns on 139 carries for the Broncos in 2024. Why the Cowboys chose Javonte Williams? Barnwell begged the question why the Cowboys would choose Williams to replace Dowdle, given the history. Williams had a 3.7 yards per attempt career average last season, and he had a significant knee injury 2 years ago, as Barnwell noted. There's a case that he is a more complete back given his body of work as a receiver and pass blocker, Barnwell wrote. Dallas didn't necessarily trust Dowdle with pass blocking until the second half of last season, when they named him the full-time starter. Dallas' biggest problem on offense last season was in the red zone, where it ranked 31st in conversion rate, Barnwell added. I'm not sure Williams really helps there, as he generated -7 FDOE over the past 2 years. Since 2021, the only back with at least 600 carries to post a worse success rate than Williams is Najee Harris. Williams is saying all the right things this offseason about recovering from his injury and being at his best, but he was league average before the ACL tear and hasn't reached that level since, Barnwell concluded. Cowboys going the post-Ezekiel Elliott contract route again. The Cowboys are sticking with a trend that started after Ezekiel Elliott's release in 2023. Dallas gave Elliott a 6-year, $90 million deal in 2019, and his early career excellence didn't last. Elliott played the 2023 season with the New England Patriots, followed by a return to Dallas on a 1-year, $2 million deal before a 2025 release to find a playoff team. As Barnwell noted, the Cowboys clearly don't want to spend a ton at running back at this time. For all the problems they had in 2024, that strategy actually worked. Rico Dowdle was perfectly reasonable in the lead role, posting above-average efficiencies in yards over expectation, EPA per rush, and success rate, Barnwell wrote. A 1,079-yard season for $1.3 million was great value for Dallas. Now, Williams will try prove the Cowboys correct in that strategy again. New Dallas Cowboys wide receiver George Pickens has a clear role this year, but how he performs remains a big mystery, as ESPN's Bill Barnwell sees it. The Cowboys traded for Pickens on May 7th with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Won the number 1 wideout in Pittsburgh, Pickens will be second to Cowboys star CeeDee Lamb. With Pickens in a contract year, he has every reason to be motivated in Dallas, Barnwell wrote. Few players have a wider range of potential outcomes in 2025. He could be a top 15 wideout or end the season on another roster. Pickens has 174 catches for 2,841 yards and 12 touchdowns in 3 seasons with the Steelers. The former Georgia star has averaged at least 15.3 yards per catch in every season of his career despite the quarterback carousel in Pittsburgh. Pickens is moving from one of the league's least pass-happy offenses to one of its most, Barnwell wrote. The Cowboys threw at the 3rd highest rate in neutral game scripts on early downs before Dak Prescott went down with a season-ending hamstring injury in Week 9. The Steelers ranked 25th by the same metric over that span. Dallas also plays at a faster pace than Pittsburgh, something likely to continue with Brian Schottenheimer taking over as coach, Barnwell added. Pickens will get his chances to thrive in Dallas' pass-oriented offense and a shot at a bigger contract in 2026. George Pickens receives massive upgrade. In Pittsburgh, Pickens caught passes from 5 different starting quarterbacks in 3 seasons. He never went the whole season with one starter, either. Pickens is also going to get a massive upgrade at quarterback, Barnwell wrote. For whatever flack Prescott gets for his weaknesses, he throws one of the most consistently accurate balls of any quarterback. His ball placement on slants, digs, and back shoulder throws, in particular, has been excellent over the past few years. Pickens is going to see plenty of those routes, Barnwell continued. With CeeDee Lamb operating out of the slot, the Cowboys have needed an X receiver since they moved on from Amari Cooper before the 2022 season. Between Cooper and Dez Bryant, Prescott had that big, physical receiver on the outside for most of his career. Pickens should be that guy, Barnwell concluded. George Pickens needed in the red zone. Barnwell sees Pickens benefiting the Cowboys the most in the red zone this season. Dallas had a 46% scoring mark for touchdowns in the red zone last season, which was second worst in the league for 2024. Pickens has the frame and catch radius to be an impactful player in close quarters, but that has never really shown up inside the 20-yard line, Barnwell wrote. He had just 5 touchdowns on 48 targets inside the red zone in his first 3 NFL seasons. I'd like to see Schottenheimer create one-on-one opportunities for his new wideout to leverage that 6'3" frame. For all the positives of Pickens moving to Dallas, the downside has to be a reduction in target share, Barnwell continued. He drew targets on more than 25% of the routes he ran a year ago, which ranked 25th among all wideouts. Brandon Cooks, whose role in the lineup is nominally going to Pickens, drew targets on just under 19% of his routes in 2024. That might not sound like a big difference, but over a full season, that gap could amount to 40 extra targets, Barnwell concluded. Earlier this month, COO Stephen Jones said there are no moves on the free agency or trade market that the Dallas Cowboys are currently working on in the NFL. But he did mention that they might sniff around in the UFL again. We're watching that in terms of those guys doing a good job over there, and we'll see if there's anybody who can help us there, and we'll just keep our eyes on what might become available, Jones said. This only becomes news because of Dallas' track record here. All-Pros Cavani Turpin and Brandon Aubrey first got their pro careers started in the UFL before joining America's team and turning into stars in their roles. Who says it can't happen again? A rumored name being thrown around is a local product in quarterback Luis Perez, who led the Arlington Renegades to a league championship not too long ago.